If your wife is going through menopause, just talk to your wife, understand the symptoms, have genuine sympathy and empathy for her. Be the man and be the rock. Be the person who she can count on and understand what she's going through, understand the symptoms she's having, understand how those symptoms are impacting her, and then how can you help her through it? I think the women out there going through these things, they need to sit their husband down and share with them how it's really impacting. We don't get it. We really don't understand because we don't go through it. I think the wife has to communicate her own needs, her own at that time, how important it is for the husband to really listen and support her during that time. And I think if you're clear on that and your husband loves you and is willing to hear you, it might take a couple times, but eventually they will hear you and they will learn and they will pick up where they need to be and support you better.
Hello. Welcome to the Menopause Mindshift Self-Love Podcast. I am your host, Lisa R. Triggs. And today I have a very special guest with me I'm going to interview. It is my husband, Rob. So we're going to talk about what menopause was like from his perspective on what he witnessed me go through, and then talk about his own journey a little bit as well. First question is, from where you sat, what do you think it was like for me
Going through menopause?
when I was going through menopause?
I had no clue. All I knew is all the things that I wanted to do, you didn't want to. You were going through something. And I know people call it menopause. I didn't know what menopause was. I do now. But at the time, all I saw was my wife not wanting to do the things I wanted to do. I saw my wife not wanting to do much of anything, to be honest, and finding fault in everything. And so I didn't realize that menopause could do that to someone. I thought menopause was hot sweats and moody. That's all I knew about it. Yes, I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand what someone goes through when they're going through menopause. I was just feeling sorry for myself that I wasn't getting out of life what I wanted from my partner. That makes it sound selfish, but when you don't know, it's just like, I can sympathize with you that you're going through something. But at some point, after weeks go by and months go by, even years go by, it's like, what the heck? Like, what is this? When does it end?
So you really couldn't tell then exactly what was going on with me. Like you said, you saw some changes, but like mentally, you really didn't see what I was really going through in my head, in my mental space.
No, and for a lot of men, since then, I've done a lot of work on myself and I've learned this concept of feminine energy and masculine energy. And so the masculine energy is just push through, get her done. Those are the kinds of things. And the feminine energy is more feeling and nurturing and those kinds of things. So as a man, when I hear, oh, I'm not feeling good or whatever, yeah, we all get like that sometimes. But at some point, you just got to suck it up and go. And so you get frustrated as a man hearing your partner say, I can't do this and I can't do that because of menopause. It sounds like a cop-out. And that's really unfair because, not all women have the same symptoms that I've learned in menopause, and some have really bad ones. And then there's everything in between. But as a man, we see a challenge and we plow through it. So to us, menopause is just one of those things that a woman has to deal with, but you just bull through it. That's a man's perspective. Is it right? No, I know that's not right now. But at the time, not understanding what you go through and how it really impacts just functioning day to day. I didn't get it. Didn't understand it. Yeah, but I do now.
Neither did I. I know now that there are so many symptoms now, Dr. Mary Claire Haver saying they're finding more all the time. So there's like up to 100 symptoms. I'm sure you noticed, so like I gained weight. I don't know if that I had insomnia. I wasn't falling to sleep till like 2, 3 in the morning. Then I was exhausted the next day. You were there when I tried taking wheat gummies to help me sleep. So that was a little bit of it. But also you were kind of on your own little journey at the time though. So I don't think you were in the headspace to be able to be sensitive, so to speak, or to really look deeply to see what was going on with me.
Yeah, I think depending on how old you are, as a woman who goes through menopause, you can be what? So let's say the average is late 40s, 50s. If your male partner is that age as well, we're going through our own stuff at that age too. And then that's no exception for me. I was going through all kinds of crazy things. I think what it does though, because men don't understand it and because men think you should just blow through it, like I felt unloved. And it's because I follow this lady on a Facebook group her and her husband, and she talks all about intimacy in marriages. It's all about marriages. And she talks a lot about how, as a man, we need that intimacy. That's how we connect. It's not about just having sex with your partner. That's how we connect. So when that's missing, as a man, you feel disconnected. If you're not careful, you go searching for that outside the house, right? And then now you're on paths of destruction. You're on this two different paths. You're going away from each other. And it felt like that at times. And it's like, well, what do we do? Do we just keep waiting until things get better?
Well, some people give up. Some people just split up.
No, we just give up. And, to be honest with everyone, like, we thought of that, right? We talked about it, and I was ready to go and find a new path. I wasn't sure I could continue on this one. But when I look back, though, it's just not understanding and not respecting what you were going through made you feel even worse, I think. Like, it's like my own partner doesn't even understand what I'm going through.
I felt not heard. I just call that my 5 years of hell, because neither one of us were getting exactly what we needed. And the funny thing is, you're a good balance of masculine and feminine energy, but I think I have more masculine energy. In fact, even I don't take any testosterone or anything like that. But last time I got my blood work done, my testosterone was high. Maybe I just naturally have higher testosterone. That's the one hormone that hasn't been affected by me through my estrogen drop, my progesterone drop, but my testosterone has, like I said, it was even high. And I know of many women who had that drop as well. So that's an additional thing that they have to deal with as well. I got lucky on that. But the other stuff, I think the mental part, I guess because of what was going on with us, I just kind of drove deeper into my head because, like I said, I didn't feel like I was being listened to or heard and all that kind of stuff. And you were kind of in your own little bubble, so you had no idea.
No, we even went on vacations, right, to beautiful places in the world, and you didn't enjoy it. You didn't actually say those words in the moment, but I could tell. It's like, wow, like we go to Italy, and you're still not happy. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, I admittedly, I think I said it to you when I was there. Standing in front of the Coliseum, and I said, I know I should be wowed, and I am, but I don't feel it. Like, I just felt like this numbness or whatever.
But I think I made it worse because you're going through what you're going through. And we talked about this wedge between us where I don't understand. So I'm distancing from you. So now you feel disconnected. I feel disconnected because I'm not feeling loved, and it's not like you're not loving me. You love me, but you're not loving me either at the same time. So I feel not loved, disconnected. You feel unheard. And so we've got this gap between us, and we were just kind of existing, going through that phase of our life. Luckily, we made it through that part.
Going through the motions, right? But obviously, I mean, I even say, as bad as it was for me mentally, we still did have a connection, like even a physical connection.
I think it's because I've read more about it now, I understand it. There's some women just don't want any intimacy at all. I don't know what would happen if that happened to us.
I remember sitting on the couch and reading you from a Facebook group. And I said, boy, count yourself lucky. I say, this woman says she hasn't had sex in a year. Right. And she had no desire to. That was, I think, a little bit of an eye-opener for you.
I want to separate that for a second, because do we have to have sex all the time? No, not all the time. But for me personally, it needs to be there in a healthy, happy relationship. And the work that I've done with the lady I'm talking about, the marriage group that she has, and she says, a man experiences love between him and his partner, female partner, through intimate connection. So when he's in the kitchen grabbing your butt and stuff like that, he's loving you. I know it may sound crazy, but it is. That's what it is.
A hug and a kiss rather than groping, a nice gesture too.
It's a balance. But then it's being able to communicate that with each other. What needs do I have? I remember one of our mentors said this not long ago. He said, one of the breakdowns of every marriage is unmet expectations and then the lack of communicating those unmet expectations. So the first thing is an unmet expectations in your marriage. And then if you don't feel comfortable to communicate it, it's just this gap. And you go on with this gap, and it can be the beginning of the end for a lot of people.
Admittedly, we did see a counselor. We tried a few separately and together. So we really had to learn how to communicate better and more. We had some really, really, really tough conversations. And I think that was when you finally realized what was really going on with me.
I didn't realize how I was behaving was impacting you. I was in my own head. I didn't realize that, wow, like what I'm saying, what I'm doing, how I'm acting is making you feel even worse on top of having menopause. So once I started to understand it better and then I communicated more, you actually opened up more. But I think the point is I stopped for a minute and I finally said, hang on a second, like I'm contributing to this. Or I thought I was a victim in all this. When I realized I wasn't a victim so much as I was the victimizer, the abuser, but unconsciously. I wasn't conscious of that until that moment. And once I was conscious of it, then it was like, holy crap, like that's not me.
That is the last thing you wanted, right? Was to do or to. I think a big breaking point for us was, you talk about it too. I had my own pivotal moment when I realized that I was thinking about everything and everyone, you included, negatively. And when I changed that and started working more on myself, that's when you saw the change and we started to grow a little bit more together.
Well, specifically that example. So we got to the point where I'm not feeling loved. You're feeling a gap. You started doing more mindset like work, and you came out of your office one day and you came over to me, gave me a big hug, you're in tears, and said, I'm sorry, I've been thinking about this all wrong. So you didn't go do hormone therapy replacement. You didn't go do exercising. You didn't go, because all these things you do for menopause, and you didn't go do diet, although you're doing all that. But it was the mindset work that you did that actually was the catalyst for us, right? Because you came to me and said, I'm sorry. I've been basically blaming you for how I feel.
I did blame you. Yeah, I felt unsafe. And I do believe that those outside forces did make it worse for me. But like that day and the days after that, I realized that I needed to take control, my body, mind, and spirit, and get on a better path. So I worked really hard at doing that. And I talk about the 8 core elements, my writing, meditating, and all that kind of stuff. And I've journaled right before, but I've never meditated before. So that was something new. And it just made a huge difference all around it. It helped me get my headspace in a higher place and a better place, and to be able to look at the world and our relationship and you differently. I had to stop blaming you. I had to release that negativity and release that anger and so forth that I was carrying around with me.
Yeah. So when that happens, that was a day I was looking for apartments to move out, just to say, okay, let's maybe separate for a while and see if that works. But that can be a path out the door too, right? Like that's the first step and the next step, because you physically move out and then you're done. And neither of us wanted that. So when you came to me and said, I've been blaming you, I've been seeing this all wrong, and it was because of the mindset work you were doing. And at the time, I was a believer in mindset work because I'd done stuff in the past myself, but I didn't believe in it as strongly. And that's probably the masculine energy coming out. But I was gobsmacked. It was like, wow. And then I started to feel love. Then I felt like, okay, she does love me.
I had to realize how to love myself, right? I had gained 40 pounds. I was going through all this outside stuff. So I felt awful. I was depressed. I just felt miserable. But, it was a big pivotal moment that I realized again that I was allowing myself to. So one of the things I learned how to do was become aware and conscious of those feelings and decide that I wasn't going to be miserable as wallow.
That was a difference.
All that kind of thing. Yeah, that decision, that awareness.
But then you came to me and said, I want to spend this money on writing a book and all this stuff. And I said, you know what? Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. And so that was the beginning of you launching your business and helping all these women with all this now. I think what it's done is we came to that point, and now even me, like I'm on a totally different path myself because of that day. Like it goes back to that day as, a mindset shift. Sorry, I was wrong, blaming you for everything, and that's unfair. And that was the turning point for us, I think.
In general, what advice would you give other spouses or significant others who are watching their partner go through this and they don't know what to do or they don't understand and are seeing their partner having difficulty?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like if you had a partner that was addicted to alcohol, for example. You have 2 options. You can say, stop drinking. I hate it when you drink so much and all that. And they're just going to keep drinking. In fact, they'll drink more. I think you have to understand it. You have to understand what is your partner going through. Because if you're in a relationship, part of the reason why you're in a relationship, because you've agreed to whether good or bad, right, as you go along. And so I think my advice to men is if your wife is going through menopause, just talk to your wife, understand the symptoms, have genuine sympathy and empathy for her. Be the man and be the rock. Be the person who she can count on and understand what she's going through, understand the symptoms she's having, understand how those symptoms are impacting her, and then how can you help her through it?
On that note, then, whatever you're willing to share about your own hormonal journey?
Men go through their own hormone changes, and I had a condition. So I have a tumor on my pituitary gland, and that was messing with my hormones. So I wasn't right either. I was emotional and not emotional, and horny and not horny. So that contributed to our craziness during that time. And I went on medications that made me go wacko. And everyone's got their own thing. Like there's business issues at the time. Luckily, we had a very consistent income through all this. So that's been good.
We built a new house. You know what? Looking back, though, that's the kind of stuff that kind of got us through. We kept ourselves busy in that way because it gave us something to focus on and work towards and all that kind of stuff, right? That was different, that was outside of ourselves.
And you adjusted a little bit. Like you would put up with some of the things I would say or wanted to do or whatever. And
yeah, and trying to compromise as much as I could to my own comfortability.
That's the thing about marriage, right? That there is a compromise sometimes, but there's a line too that you can't cross in some cases.
Yes, because sometimes even though I was trying to compromise, I still didn't like it.
You're right. Then you're compromising past your line.
Yes. Set your boundaries. Everybody needs to have your boundaries. And if you don't communicate those to your spouse, significant other, partner, you can't blame them if you're not communicating effectively what your boundaries are. They're not totally at fault if you get angry at them because you have to communicate that.
I think the women out there going through these things, they need to sit their husband down and share with them how it's really impacting. We don't get it. We really don't understand because we don't go through it. And again, back to being masculine energy, just push through. And it may not happen the first time, depending on the kind of man you're married to. Some men are very close, right? I think ask them, please listen. I need you to hear me. I need you to hear this. I think the wife has to communicate her own needs, her own at that time, how important it is for the husband to really listen and support her during that time. And I think if you're clear on that and your husband loves you and is willing to hear you, it might take a couple times, but eventually, right, they will hear you and they will learn and they will pick up where they need to be and support you better. That's why we get married, right? We don't get married just to have sex with each other. We get married because we're here to support each other.
Absolutely. Because here I was going through this, but then I know it was difficult for you as well. And that actually made me feel even worse because I know it was a roller coaster for you. And I actually found myself trying to help stabilize you. So how do you think we've handled it, though?
If we could go back to the beginning, I've handled it differently, for sure. So because we learned so much. But I think we finally found, it was the 11th hour of finding an apartment and moving out. We made it to the 11th hour. You found the work that you did, mindset work, manifestation, all those different things. And in the end, that's what brought you out. And so that brought you out enough for me to say, hang on a minute, I'm not moving out. Like this one is great and I really want to figure this out. So we're still on the journey.
We are. We still have those days. Let's just let everybody know that we have been together a total of 37 years. We've been at it a long time. We've been through the ups, downs, and rounds. This was, I guess, has just been another challenge, I guess, for us. I feel like sometimes the universe, God, whatever source is testing us because and the funny thing is, every time I really think, you know what, we should just go our separate ways. Something happens or something you say or whatever that just says, no, that's not the right thing to do. And we come back together, whether that's familiarity, but we have a very deep bond, which I think we've been really, really lucky at. Like we haven't given up on this and a lot of people would a lot sooner than we have. So we continue to work on it, but overall, we're doing pretty well. We continue to communicate. We continue to have those conversations.
But I think it's cool that two people that have been together so long can actually say, we don't know what the future is like. We don't know if we're together forever. But what we've done is we've started to communicate better and we've started to respect each other's differences and all that more than we were before. And I think at the end of the day, isn't that what being married is supposed to be about? Like, it's not this, like, who has that relationship? Everything's perfect. No one ever disagrees with it. And it doesn't exist. So it's like we have enough in common that we want to be together still. And we work through the things that are different. Yeah. And our communication's open.
It's a choice, right? We choose. That's an important message to give people and women, especially during this time. Don't always give up on the relationship.
Remember, men typically are closed. And if I can't help you, I feel like I don't want to show a sign of weakness. I can't. I'm a man. I'm not supposed to. So if you come to me with this menopause stuff, first of all, I don't get it. I don't understand it. I can't help you, right? So that makes us feel not good. So the first time a woman comes to their husband and says, hey, I want you to listen to this, they're going to roll their eyes. Most likely, here we go, menopause stuff.
It's funny because I almost felt that sometimes we had that a little bit because I would say, oh my God, this is a menopause symptom. And you're thinking, really? Like that vertigo I had for like 18 months.
Right.
I found out that the dizziness and all that, vertigo is a menopause symptom. And that makes so much sense now why it wouldn't go away. And I was going to chiropractors and doing this and that, even medication, and couldn't get it to go away.
But my point in saying that is the women that are listening may not have been who is open to hear. And sometimes it takes more than one try to get them to open. You got to understand, there's that book, Women Are From Mars, Men Are From Venus. Like, we really are fundamentally similar but different. And so the man is just strong. You bring something he doesn't understand, he can't be strong. He's weak, and we don't want to feel weak.
That's a societal thing too, though. I think it's balanced out a little bit, like not our generation, but our kids' generation. I think they're more equal. Like women, in some cases, the woman makes more money than the man, and different things like that, depending on what they're doing. But we're almost from a little bit more of a traditional time of being late 60s kids. And we got married early. That was a natural progression of what you did back then. Now people go to school, they get the career started before
the women that are out there right now that are going through menopause are more than likely 45-ish and up. So if you're 50 and 60 and you're going through this and your husband's a blockhead, believe me, he's not trying to be a blockhead on purpose. He's being a man. So, but like, you got true to me, right? You came and said, I'm sorry I've been treating you badly and I'm thinking about things all wrong. And those were basically the words he said. And that opened the door to communication.
I think that's a key takeaway. Don't give up so easily.
And most husbands don't want their wives to leave and give up on their marriage. And if you've had children, you have grandchildren or grandchildren are coming. And so you have this history. We've seen lots of people separate.
Oh, yeah.
I shake my head sometimes and go, like, why?
We had a friend group that I think we're the only ones that are still together. All right, we better wind it up because I know you have other things to do. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you so much for joining us today. And as always, self-love first. Bye for now.